You must, the girl says, her eyes glow with excitement, be my new lady's maid. It's been a while, but it's such a relief that you finally arrived. I knew that you would. You would never leave me alone, not when you knew how long I was waiting. Oh, I'm so happy. The girl's good mood is contagious, so much so you find yourself being swept away in it. You are tempted to accept any identity she might press upon you. You have never been a maid before, but you might not mind being this girl's maid. She does not seem like a poor mistress to serve, not if she is always this kind. You cannot mask the confusion, however, which flickers across your face. You are not a good enough actress, and in any case, this is all happening too quickly. You barely know this girl. Why is she being so very familiar? It is with blank bovine eyes that you examine the girl. Your befuddlement is pronounced enough that even the girl, despite her good mood, notices it. She frowns. Oh, her frowning sprite is so cute. Girl. And she says, her fingers sliding away from your own. Or am I mistaken? Are you not my new lady's maid after all? The disappointment in the girl's face is abundant, so much so your heart clenches. You do not know her, and she is still a stranger, but you are struck all of a sudden with the intense desire to appease her. You do not want to let her down. The thought is devastating. You were not aware, you tell her, that you had applied to be her maid, but if that is what she wills, you would not be opposed to it. You pray that she forgives you, though, for your discombobulation. You come from a distant country, and you have traveled for many miles. You know not where you are, and you do not know who she is. What? You don't know who I am? It's regrettable, you tell her, but no, you do not know her. But that is no fault of her own. Why, you've spent such a long time running, you hardly even know yourself. Ah, so you're a fugitive then, from another country? I see. I won't pry into your past then, if you'd rather forget about it. I don't mind sharing my past with you, though. Everybody in this country knows who I am, after all. Or at least they should. Now, this is quite the impressive boast. If it were to come from the lips of another, you would find it unpleasantly arrogant. You do not think, however, that this girl is trying to show off. You get the feeling instead that she is merely telling the truth. If you don't have the pleasure of knowing me, then allow me to do the honors. My father and my mother were the king and queen of this realm, and I am its princess. I've lived in this castle all my life, so I don't know much about the outside world, but I know that other countries do exist out there. I presume it is from one of these foreign countries that you come from? It is very good to meet you. I've always wanted to talk to somebody from overseas. It feels like quite the opportunity. The girl giggles at this, and you smile in response. You tell her unthinkingly that it is your pleasure, really, to meet her. Or at least you mean to. You only get halfway through this remark when the full gravity of what the girl has told you sinks in. You come to a stop. Then you stare. Did she just say she was a princess? Yes, that's right. I'm a princess, and one day I'll be a queen, after I've done a little bit of growing up. My ministers don't think I'm ready to run the country just yet, but I've been doing my best at my lessons. One day, I'm sure I'll be the best queen that ever was. So she really is a princess. That makes sense, you suppose, given she lives in a castle, but it comes as a surprise regardless. You hadn't known before you entered this chamber that you were trespassing on a lady of such great renown. Why, if she willed it, she could have you executed for your carelessness. An ugly red flush creeps up your face, a flush which is far more lurid than the princess's dress, as you look to your feet. Bashfully, you stammer out a new address, that you are very sorry for intruding upon her, and you hope that she can forgive you. Oh, it's all right. Think nothing of it. I don't mind, really. We all make mistakes, and anyway, you weren't to know. You said you weren't from around here? You nod your head in silent affirmation. It isn't a complete lie. You really are not from this country. You're not from this world at all. Oh, is this a fucking isekai situation? What's up? How wonderful. I'll look forward to picking your brain later. All of my servants come from the nearby village. Their tales are all the same, and so are all their superstitions. I could do with a breath of fresh air. My last lady's maid told me I was too impetuous, but I don't think there's anything wrong with wanting a bit of adventure. Not that I've ever been afforded much of that. I've been shut up in here for so long, I hardly ever get the chance to talk to other girls my age. My last lady's maid was older than me, and so was the one before her and the one before her. I wonder what happened. I fucking wonder. Some of the princess's fair mood seems to dissipate as she speaks, her expression turning by degrees into something rather more pensive. But I haven't seen any of my old lady's maids in a while, or any of the other servants for that matter. They've all disappeared. Now that is quite curious. How could a whole household full of servants simply disappear? That I don't know. I don't like that she just read our thoughts. This castle was full of servants once. My lady's maids and my undermaids and my scullery maids and my housekeeper and my cooks and a large retinue of retainers. They're all gone now, though. I think my ministers must have sent them away. You don't know why they would have done that, though. They didn't explain it to me. You're extremely correct. It is hot. But then again, they never explain anything to me. They still treat me like a little girl. It's so tiring. He said that her ministers sent her servants away? What of her parents, the king and the queen? Would they not be the ultimate authorities in the castle's hierarchy? Well, they would, yes, if they were still alive, but they're not. They died a long time ago. I was raised for most of my life by servants. Oh, you answer, and then you flush. You hadn't known. Oh, it's all right. You don't need to apologize. I'm just happy that I have you now. I was getting sick and tired of only having my dolls to speak to. They aren't the best conversational partners. You can imagine so, yes. Who doubt any doll, even one made by a talented artisan, with an intelligent face indistinguishable from a human's, would be very good at answering back. Oh, no, they aren't. They're hopeless at it, really. They're so stony-lipped. You've no idea how much of a relief it is to see you. This castle is so big, and without my servants, it feels so very empty. It gets so lonely here. Now that is an interesting turn of phrase. It catches inside your head like a burr. Have you heard it before? You do not have much time to ponder this, however, because the princess is speaking anew, in that precisely conversational manner of hers, which does not seem particularly princessy. Maybe she learned how to speak from her servants. That would explain why her consonants are so unrefined. Oh, but listen to me yammering on again. It's a bad habit. I really must put a stop to it. You're probably tired, dear one, from your travels. Would you like me to show you to your room? Yes, the princess announces before you can say anything in reply. I think I'll do just that. I might show you a bit around the castle first, though. It's like a maze in here, and I wouldn't want you getting lost. You'll be staying here for quite some time, after all. I'm sure it's fine. I'm sure that's not ominous at all. The princess then hastens to take you on a tour of her home. Fortunately, she does not show all of the rooms in her abode, and neither does she offer overly long descriptions as to what the few rooms she does show you are used for. She does, however, pause by the kitchens, whereat she offers you some victuals. Once the growling in your belly has been satisfied, the princess then resumes her journey. She leads you down a dark twisting hallway and up a series of equally dark twisting steps until she arrives at long last before a door. The princess pushes this door aside summarily, thus permitting you entrance to a small, humble bedchamber. The chamber is not half so opulent as the grand bedroom in which the princess resides, with its resplendent four-poster and its richly patterned wallpaper. This room's ceiling is not as high, and the singular bed shoved against the wall is thin and narrow. The walls are an unassuming beige, and the floor beneath your soles is of warped wood. There's a malodorous scent, too, which hangs in the air, one of disuse and general decay. You get the feeling that nobody has slept in this room for quite some time. That might explain why it feels so very cold in here. Though if the princess's tour of her castle has taught you anything, that it is cold in every room in her abode. Looks like you're going to have to huddle for warmth, ladies. Now here we are, the final stop of our tour. This will be your room, dear one. I hope it's to your liking. The princess, despite her exalted status, looks somewhat uneasy as she observes you, her eyes upturned like those of a loyal dog's. Is she concerned about your reaction to this room? Perhaps she is afraid that you will turn up your nose at her kindness. For a princess, she is awfully eager to please. This unexpected contrast between the princess's lofty title and her ingratiating attitude makes you smile. The room is rather scanty, yes, when it comes to its contents, but it is more than passable. It has a roof and four walls, and although it is cold, you fancy you will feel warmer once you've slipped beneath the bed's sheets. The room is not quite so fancy as your dormitory at the conservatoire, and neither is it so large, but it does have one glaring improvement over your previous lodgings. You will not be expected to share it with anybody else. There is only one bed in this room, and this bed is to belong to you. You think that the peace and quiet will do you a world of good. You tell the princess as much, and she smiles. That's good. I was worried you wouldn't like it. I know it isn't much to look at, but it's one of the nicest servants' rooms we have in the castle. Most of the maids sleep beneath the roof in this teeny tiny room, which is all cramped. There's 10 beds up there, and they're so close together, there's barely any room to pass between them. Oh, hell yeah. I didn't even know that Ebihime was going to be here. Wonderful. I thought it was perfectly ghastly when I saw it the last time I went up there. Not that I was supposed to be up there. It was a rainy day and I couldn't go outdoors, so I was doing a little bit of exploring. If the housekeeper had known I'd been skulking about, I don't think she would have been best pleased. Well, in any case, nobody sleeps up there anymore. The scullery maids are all gone now. Aw, that's valid. I couldn't put you up there in that attic with all those empty beds. I didn't think it'd be very cheery. You're not just a scullery maid, you're my lady's maid. That means you deserve good lodgings. It'd be an insult to offer you any less than this. Now it's getting late. You'll have to forgive me for rabbiting on. I've heard it's something I tend to do. It's a bad habit, one that's unbecoming for a lady. The housekeeper's warned me enough times. You reassure the princess to the contrary, smiling as you do so. You do not mind if she talks too much. That is better than not talking at all. Her affable nature makes it easy to spend time with her, manners be damned. You were always scolded too back in the conservatoire for your behavior. You know very well how aggravating it can be to be upbraided, not for any particular misdemeanor, but for being yourself. Well, I'm glad you understand, the princess offers with a giggle. I really should be off, though. It's bad manners to keep you, especially when you look so sleepy. Get some rest. We can talk more tomorrow if you don't mind my ceaseless prattle. I'm glad you seem to appreciate it at least. Though I'm sure you'll get tired of it eventually. All my old maids did. The princess departs, and in her absence, you take a seat upon the bed, your new bed. You cannot help but think all this is happening very quickly. Oh man, I'm not used to, I stream a lot of, regular ass stuff, like Pokemon. So, this is a lot of talking, but I love doing visual novels occasionally. I'm looking to do a lot more of them in the future. I've done audiobooks before, so this is familiar. All right. You cannot help but think that this is all happening very quickly. It does not seem like very long ago that you were still in the forest, running for your life amongst the tall, imposing trees with their gnarled, grasping branches. The forest might well be a distant memory now, though. You are indoors, inside a castle no less, and you have been given a room in which to sleep and clothes that you might wear. It seems premature still to declare that you are out of the woods, in a more metaphorical sense, I mean, but things could certainly be worse. You force yourself to stand on legs which feel too heavy to support you and change into the night clothes hanging in the wardrobe. The night clothes do not fit you perfectly, but you are too tired to care about that. You are too tired to care about much of anything. You retreat to the bed and slide beneath its sheets. Then you let your eyelids fall shut. You exhale, and lulled by the breeze which blows outdoors, you fall asleep. You are so very tired. Your sleep is a deep, dark one, darker even than the furthest abysses of the nighttime. Like the nighttime sky, however, which shimmers with stars, your sleep is not devoid of those prismatic fragments you humans call dreams. Though in this case, I rather think your nocturnal imaginings are worth rather more than that. They are not dreams, are they, to which your slumbering mind is subjected? You know that they are not. Otherwise, your body would not be so very cold, not so clammy. The images that flicker beneath your closed eyelids, like the ghostly images of a phenakistoscope. I have never seen that word before. Were not conjured from within your mind. They were instead taken from your memories. You are not merely dreaming, you are remembering. You remember the girls who slept in your dormitory and how they always hastened to use the shower first so that you were last for breakfast. You remember how, when you finally did arrive at the dining hall, the most desirable morsels had already been snaffled up by the girls who got there earlier. You struggled too to find a seat once you finally did get your hands on some food, because nobody ever wanted to sit with you. The other girls all acted like you were a leper, save for when they wanted favors. They never asked for those favors, mind, for why would they? To them, your father's prestige did not matter. They were all wealthy ladies too, many of them wealthier than you. When everybody has the airs and graces of a princess, how is anybody supposed to stand out? Oh, interesting. The phenakistoscope was the first widespread animation device that created a fluid illusion of motion. All right. Like those things that were kind of like a flip book that you would like spin. Yes, these motherfuckers. Yeah. These. I know these. All right. Back to it. You stood out the least in your class, perhaps because you were one of the smallest, the frailest, the sickliest, who always came down with colds in the winter. Your poor health did not stop the other girls from treating you as a servant, though, and they remembered that you existed, of course. It was your lot in life, as you dwelt within the stone walls of the conservatoire, to carry school bags across the field like a pack mule. Then come the evenings. The girls in your dormitory had you sewing on missing buttons and ironing out the creases and wrinkles in their uniforms. Look, you're doing ladies' maid work already. You're going to be great at this, girl. There was an odd job that needed performing. You would always be asked, but these girls did not ask you. That would have been too civilized. They ordered you instead, and as they ordered you, they laughed at you. They laughed and they laughed and they laughed. Their laughter hurt, but it hurt considerably less than the kicks did and the slaps and the pinches. Once during an embroidery lesson, one of your classmates had an accident with her sewing scissors. She stumbled, or at least she pretended to, and before you knew it, the silvery blades of those scissors were embedded in your left palm. This happened quite some time ago, when you were even littler than you are now, but you can still remember it. It hurt a lot. The scissors were sharp and they perforated your skin, not all the way down to the bone, but enough to bleed. Your wound bled bright red like strawberry jam all over your embroidery. Then when your professor saw it, she shrieked. Her face turned as pale as Wei, and she looked for a few moments as though she might faint, though you were the one who was in pain. Your professor looked at your face. She could not bear to look at your hand, and then demanded to know why you could not be more careful. Her tone had an accusatory one, almost as if you had stabbed yourself in the hand with the scissors to goad her. Pain in your hand hurt, but the giggles of your persecutors hurt all the more. They never were punished for that. Perhaps your professor did not care enough to punish them. Perhaps she, like everybody else, thought it was all your fault. The wound, when all was said and done, was not too deep. You did not even need any stitches. It healed well enough in time on its own, though it still left a scar, a white raised thing like a crescent moon. You still have that scar. You do not know how much blood you lost. It seemed like a lot back in the classroom. You could smell it in the air, sharp as iron. But it could not have been that much, evidently. If your wound had been more serious, perhaps your professor might have cared. Perhaps your classmates, too, would have felt some modicum of guilt over what they did. But this seems very unlikely. You know that your blood meant nothing to your classmates. Why should it? If you meant next to nothing, then the blood in your veins was, if such a thing is possible, even more inconsequential. You feel disoriented when you awake at long last with the rising of the sun. You do not remember what you dreamt, but you do not think that your dreams were of a particularly pleasant nature. If they were, your heart would not be hammering so. Ill at ease, you glance around. You are lying in a narrow bed in an unremarkable room, one with dull beige walls and a warped wooden floor. Where exactly are you? This does not look like your dormitory in the conservatoire, not unless it has shrunk threefold overnight. Your brow furrows as you attempt to recall the events of the night prior, until, with a gasp, it all clicks into place. You remember now. You were running in the woods, trying to escape from... You shudder. You do not want to think of what it was you were trying to escape from. You presume that you must have given your hunter the slip, though, because you are still in one piece, awake and alert enough to face the dawning of a new morning. You still have all of your limbs, and your facial features appear to be in the correct configuration. That is more enough to be getting along with. You look to the foot of your bed, then blink, bemused at your discovery. You can see, lying upon the sheets, a garment, 2 garments actually, of black and white folded into a neat white square. What could that be? A maid's outfit? If so, it would not be too surprising. You can now recall your visit with the princess the night prior, and her assertions that you must be her lady's maid. Well then, if that is the role she wants you to assume, you have no qualms with it. It's far preferable to the other role you played last night, that of a startled quarry running from its pursuer. You press your fingers against the humble maid's attire. It feels surprisingly soft to the touch, not coarse like you expected. These clothes are rather fine. Did the princess put them here? If so, that is all the more reason to wear them. You're not churlish enough to deny her hospitality. You rise from your new bed, then undress yourself, unbuttoning the front of your plain white nightgown and setting it aside. This task accomplished, you then clad yourself in your new attire, black, white, and eminently sensible. You feel very far away from the girl that you once were. Your face might be the same as always, but something within you seems to have changed. You are no longer a student, not as long as you mean to reside within the princess's castle. You would far rather be her servant. Assured of your newfound identity, you retreat from your chamber, then make your way to your mistress's bedroom. The castle is a large one with many, many rooms and many, many hallways to connect them, and for a brief while you find yourself horrendously lost. You cannot remember where the princess's bedroom is. You are beginning to feel rather disoriented when, to your relief, your eyes snag upon a stairwell which looks rather familiar. Could this be the way? You ascend these steps, your footfalls cushioned by the plush carpet which lines them, then find your way down the very same hall you traversed the night prior. If your memory does not fail you, then the princess's bedroom ought to be... Yes, it is here. You rap upon the door but receive nothing in the way of a response. Is the princess still abed? You wonder briefly whether you oughtn't wait until she has risen of her own accord. But no. The sun is high in the sky, and it would seem a shame to let the princess sleep throughout the day. You ought instead to rouse her. That seems like the sort of duty a lady's maid should attend to.